sometimes things don't go as planned. And then sometimes those things turn out fabulous. Hi guys, Ceri the Crafter here, that's C-E-R-I the Crafter. And as you can see, my gel presses are out, and that can only mean one thing: I'm going to do some gel printing. Now, I'll sort of explain as I go along, but just as I get going, I need two 12 by 12 backgrounds that look as close to similar or the same as I can, because I need to cover the front and the back cover of something. This is 250 GSM. This is my 12 by 12, my 5 by 7 gel press, and I've got a 4-inch speedball brayer. And I'm just going to create two backgrounds just for myself. I do have something else here. I picked up on the internet a couple of circle labels. I don't have any circle labels, so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to use, excuse the noise, it's just me ripping the packaging open. I'm going to use these as cleanup because I'm running a challenge in March, and that March is a mixed media challenge. I'll put the launch video up in the top corner at the end of the video. I'll also put a link to it in the description box below. Now, I want to use some circles as like accent pieces within that, so I'm going to use my labels as cleanups, and then later on I'll probably stamp them and things like that. So if you see me braying off, it's over to one side. So I keep saying so, I do apologize for that. I want to use colors I really like, and I'm going to start in, it's probably going to be greens and teals. There might be some yellow in it. There'll definitely be black. I just want to get stuff down, and I just need to get stuff on this plate to start off with. So if I forget to tell you what the paints are, I'll always try to lift them up so you can see them. And I'm not worried about perfect, because of the cover I'm going to be, or the covers I'm going to be covering. The outer 1 inch of this may not actually be seen. I'll try to cover it because I don't really like to leave things white if I can help it. But there you go. So what am I doing with these? Anyway, I have decided, and yes, there will be videos, I have decided that I want to make a large concertina art journal for the month of March. Now, month of March, I'm doing a challenge called #MixedMediaMarch25. And that's the challenge. Now, the thing has been, I haven't really worked out how I was going to display or store those things. Now, last July 2024, I did a postcard challenge. And at the end of it, I ended up with 31 postcards, which was exactly what I wanted. However, I then put my 31 postcards into my postcard collection. But this year, we're going to be doing, well, not we, we're all going to be doing, those taking part in this, you're allowed to do 31 items over 31 days. And the main criteria is they're rectangular. So there's a few little rules along the way, but without boundaries, you don't have a challenge, do you? So you can do ATCs, card toppers, journal toppers, postcards, tags. Actually, you could do tags with rounded corners, not bevel corners. You could do journal cards. Do you see what I mean? So there's plenty of stuff you could be doing. And I just wanted to work out, how am I going to make a collection of them or display them at the end of the day? So I was playing around with thinking, I'll make a journal, and then every day of the challenge will be a new page in the journal. But then I thought, I'm not overly keen on that. I liked the idea, but I didn't like the idea. I need to come in with some white and lighten that up now. I like the idea, but I didn't. What's this? Titanium white, that will do. And it's a liquid. So what I decided to do was, I was playing around with the idea, as I said, of doing a concertina journal, and a concertina art journal, that is. And then someone on PM Artist Studio in Makers of Mixed Media Art. There's a heck of a lot of paint on here, Griffiths. Okay, well, we'll deal with it. PM Artist Studio's Facebook group is called Makers of Mixed Media Art and Artist Group. And someone posted on there that they were making a concertina book for their part of the challenge. And I thought, you know what, great minds think alike. And then I happened to be watching one of Frawl Davies. See, it's getting more interesting. One of Frawl Davies' videos, and she's a New Zealand artist. And lo and behold, she was also doing one. So I thought, you know what, it's a... Right, so I've got a nice start here and a nice start here at a greenish background. Now I want to come in with something a little darker and maybe a little bit blue. Just to change it round a little bit. Cobalt blue hue. Let's just go with this. I'm going to be using stencils. I'm going to be using stamps. I might be using masks. I'm definitely going to be doing mark making on these covers, because basically the accordion or concertina journal is going to have covers which I have to make, which is fine. That's not a problem. However, they need to be decorated in some way. So I'm going to cover them with my own gel prints, because why wouldn't I? I like my gel prints. So cover it with the gel prints, and then that will make it robust. And because it's acrylic paint, oh, that's looking nice. Because it's acrylic paint, it will actually make it quite substantial, because the paint will dry almost like a plastic coating. Right. Okay, and I quite like that coming off there, so I'm going to put it onto this one. It's always tricky when you're trying to make a pair of prints. I feel like I've got an air bubble in there. A pair of prints, because there is no way I can make them absolutely identical. Even if I tried, they're not going to be identical. However, if I can get them similar, basically what I'm trying to get at is they need to be sisters, not twins. Okay, I'm getting there with that. Now I want to come in now with something from a stencil. I want to use the Harlequin, or I want to use dots later on anyway. I want to use the Harlequin. There you go, Hopeless Harlequin. It's my favourite stencil. I can't deny it. It's my favourite stencil of my own design, so let's put it that way. Do I want to do big or do I want to do small? Let's do small. Now the question is, what colour do I want to do it in? I'm going to put it down and then pick it up. Maybe a bit of yellow. Let's try some yellow on here. Right, so I've got cadmium deep yellow hue. Now I'm going to put it this time onto a different surface. I like to use my 5x7 as a palette, because that way it helps me regulate how much paint I'm putting down. Now, I know I can be heavy-handed with paint, so that's why I'm a little cautious. And also, I know that this isn't a fully opaque paint. It's a transparent or semi-transparent. So I know that I'm going to aim for just areas, just to give me some interest in there. And this will be one of many layers, I can absolutely assure you. I'm not shy of a layer, me. So hopefully a lot of you are going to be joining in the challenge. There's no prize. There are guidelines and there are some rules. I've kept it as loose as I possibly can with the criterias, with everything. I listened to everyone's feedback from last year, and you were also kind and helpful to help me fine-tune this. So I don't think I want any more of this now. Let's put this down to one side. Actually, let's just pull in my label thing and lay that down and give it a bit of a press, because there will be paint on the reverse side of this stencil. There you go. That's given me some interest on those labels. Don't want to do more on those. So I'm going to use buttermilk now. I'm putting it over here because what I want to do is I want to bring in the pieces and I want to skim my brayer over these. I'll get rid of that corner there. I'll get down there. So I'd quite like to put a little bit there as well. Now, I'm going to be stopping in a few minutes just to put the hairdryer on these, because the craft paper or craft card is going to start getting saturated, and that's when accidents happen. That's when things get torn or ripped. So I do need to be aware that things should be drying a bit. Take that off there because I quite like that bit. And that bit there can do with a bit. So, okay, so that's where we're at. So here you go. Just a couple of seconds with my travel hairdryer on cool. And they're dry enough for me to work on. They're not dry all the way through the core. That wasn't what I was aiming for. So now I want to add some red. As I said, I want these to be nice and colourful and bright. And I like the colour red. I like colour. So I'm just going to bring in another stencil. This is Dainty Dots by me. And I'm going to put this down. And again, I'm going to put it onto my palette and put it across and pick it up with the papers. Now this red is an opaque red, or it's more opaque than the yellow was, so let's put it that way. I'm also keeping my brayering within the confines of the stencil so that I don't inadvertently start creating straight lines, which maybe I don't want. I'm just going to pop that over onto my sheet of labels. A little bit of quick press down. So as you can see, that's there. Now I'm not focusing on where I'm picking things up. I'm letting the fates decide what I end up with. That's a heck of a lot of dots. That was not the amount. I mean, I'll have to knock that back a bit, I think, with a little bit of white. So excuse if it makes any disgusting noises. It is the way it's going to be. Right. Now, because this plate is slightly damp, because obviously you just saw me wipe it with the damp cloth, it could potentially start to separate. I'd be surprised if it does, but if it does, that's the reason why. This needs to totally, I don't need it to be completely whited out, but it definitely needs more of that sort of treatment. And if I'm doing one, I have to do the other. Right, so it's almost as if I'm going back to the start again, isn't it? Although it's not going to worry me too much. Right, so I can see stuff in there. I'm not overly worried that I've pretty much eliminated everything I've done so far. Sometimes things just happen like that. It just means the more layers of paint I put down, the more robust that's going to become. So I need to go back to my colours. This was one of the colours on there. Don't need a huge amount. Right, let's establish that colour palette, which is what I wanted. There you go. A little bit on there will do. Now I had blue before, and I'm wondering whether I should have gone with like a deeper colour, like a jade or something, or a teal. That looks quite interesting to me. I mean, deep turquoise is a really nice colour as well. Let's go with deep turquoise. because I would say the colour we've just put on is possibly turquoise, and this is deep turquoise. Yeah, put that over to one side. Now, how do I want to put this on? I will do it in the same way, I think. You're noticing I'm not going to the edge of the plate every time. I don't need to if I'm just working with one area of it. That's more like it. Yes. Let's give that a bit of this, or this a bit of that. Okay, right. Things are beginning to change in front of my eyes, basically. So that's just sitting for a second as I look. Right, okay, so I'm quite happy. I've sort of got back to where I was a little while ago. I've lost the yellow, but the cream is still in there, and I can always add yellow in a later stage. And again, I don't mind that. I want to go back to the red dots now. So see, nothing's an absolute disaster. I'm wondering, however, whether I want to sponge the dots on. Maybe I will do that. At least if it's just a packing sponge. At least if I sponge it on here, then what it will do, it means I can actually determine where it's going instead of just randomly just picking it up anywhere. Oh, this is really stuck to this. I think it's about time this plate had another condition and a clean. It's beginning to get really, really sticky lately. Right, let's put this down on here and put out a bit more of the red. Am I in shot? I feel I am. Why aren't you coming out? You're a full pot. What's going on in here? Well, there's more than one way to do this, people. There you go. That'll teach you to block up on me. Although, mind you, I'm now covered in it. I look like I've massacred something. So let's just put this on here. Now, as with a lot of us, oh, that's the little pearl. That's probably what blocked it up. I like to work in 3 groups or threes. I like the sponged effect because it not only adds texture, it helps me control to a certain extent how much paint is actually going down on the surface. There you go, let's bring one piece over here. Never have too much paint on your sponge, by the way. You could always build up layers. It's easier to build up than it is to actually take it off after. Well, you can't take it off once it's on there, unless you're very lucky and you can wipe it clean. You're basically stuck with what you've got. That's better. And let's do something similar with this one. Let's start over this side for a second. Not that there is no orientation with these. I purposely am trying not to do designs that are going to be telltale, vertical or horizontal. I may be putting my numbers on here because I really like the numbers. Although if I remember correctly, when I designed it, I designed the numbers so they go in different directions. I'd like to put a metallic on here as well. That would be a nice idea. Now, this video is going to launch before the video where I make the accordion art journal. So what I will do is, once the Accordion Art Journal video, or videos, I don't know how many videos it'll be, has launched, they will then appear as links within this video. But if you can't see those links, it means I haven't yet filmed that video. So just so you're aware, that's better. Let's just pop this down onto my sticky labels. Ooh, that's an interesting something. Now that little bead there needs to go back into the pot, because that's what keeps things moving when I shake the pot. So where am I up to now? Let's just take this off here while I've got it here. So I'm going to keep this sponge to one side just in case I need it again. Okay, right, I'm happy with that now. It's sort of where I wanted to be last time, but of course I got lost in the mix, didn't I? Now I want to put some circles into this as well. And I think I'm going to do circles with just a mark making tool. Bring this down here. And a mark making tool for me is something like this, or a cap, or a bigger circle, something like this. This was a tape center. These were just washi tapes that I stuck together. Same here to give me a smaller grouping, and that's the cap of, I think it's a Tim Holtz tissue paper thing, so I'm not sure which ones I'm going to use. I might use a combination of this and this, to be honest. So now the question is, what colours do I want to do them in? At this point, I should really be thinking about opaque colours and ones that are going to stand out as well. Let's put that up there. Now, we did have yellow before, but I didn't maintain it because I've got one little tiny bit of it there. I think I might come in and do the smaller circles, and all I do is basically just stomp it around until I can see that I've got stuff on there. I am not looking for a perfect anything. The reason I like this method as well is because if I butt those up against each other, I have more than three. Right, that's that one done. Now, to point out here, you will note there's raised areas because of the thickness of the paint. It's up to me whether I maintain them by leaving them dry fully, or whether maybe I put a bit of tissue or deli wrap or something over the top, which will then pull those back off. I haven't decided, so I mustn't avoid the center. I have this horrible habit of not doing the center. So let's just take that out of the way. So these are nice and done now. They're dry enough for me to keep working on. Now, before I go to using this, I've decided I want to put something that will be a finer detail, because everything on here so far is really quite heavy, and I'd quite like to put something on here that's finer, more lacy in its appearance. And I think, am I going to use this? Am I going to use this? Let's use this. This is just a piece of plastic canvas. I picked it up in my craft store many years ago, and it's been used so much. So I'm just going to come in with some white paint. What is it with me adding so much white paint lately? Let's see if I can get it into this. Will it go into here? Yeah, let's put finger painting 101. There you go. This is sort of a mixed pot. It says chalk paint, but it's more than just chalk paint, I can absolutely assure you. I just don't want to waste that amount of paint. So just braid this out. And there still seems a lot there, but that's fine. I've got uses for stuff like that. So I'm going to come in with this, and I'm just going to pop this down. And that will immediately make anything that's dark, e.g. those, it will lighten them up. So as you can see, it just, if I show you the before and after, luckily enough we have before and after, that just gives me the ability to do that, which is wonderful. Let's get some more paint on that. That's better, that's what I was looking for. Right, I'm just going to use this paint up on something else, so I'm probably just going to cut the video. So there you go, that's the paint used up, not wasted. So this is where we're at. I'm liking this now. I'm granted we had to go back to the starting block, but it just shows sometimes you've got to go back to the starting block. Love where we're at. I do think I'm going to use my black, my number stamp in black on this, but I want to put, I know it's probably going to be a bit of a shocker, I'm going to put lime green into this. And it's this colour here. It's, again, it's a mixed patch, a mixed pot that I pretty much made up of other paints. I can get it open. There you go. Oh, that's probably why. I must admit, mark making is one of my favourite things to do. So if you've ever seen me before, you will know that I do mark making. So now I braid that out because otherwise it gets too thick and heavy in this point. So I'm just going to put down with an even pressure. And I need to keep reminding myself that the outer edges are probably not going to be seen because they're going to be folded under or folded around the cover. That's looking very nice. Thank you very much. Now, I'm not sure if I might, at the end of the day, seal this with matte medium, or I probably wouldn't use Mod Podge. I'm not going to use Mod Podge on a cover of a journal. Just double that one over, because I'm looking at this one, I'd quite like to double that one over. Right, so where am I up to? So this is looking pretty good, actually. I wanted to add a metallic, and I want the last thing to be added will be either numbers or letters. I'm not sure which. I want to see what this looks like when it's completed, to be honest with you. So copper would look nice. Is that copper or gold? That's deep gold. Let's do deep gold. Right, I need to find a foam stamp that I want to use to stamp that. So bear with me, I just need to have a look. Okay, I'm going to go with this. It's one of my designs. I think it's called Sketchy Dots. It's either Sketchy Dots or Mark Making Dots. I can't remember. I'm terrible at knowing the names of my own products. Is that really bad of me? There's just too much going on in life. I never know what the heck's going on. So I'm going to use the deep gold. Oh, I would if I could open it. See, this is what I do. I'm really bad at looking after my paints. So, but never mind. So I'm just going to, now I want to braid this out because this is a flat surface, these. So if I have it too thick, it'll go into the depths of it, and I don't want that. Also, it may pucker by nature, and I don't mind that either. If you ever want to get rid of the puckering, take a reasonably clean brayer and do that, and it will get rid of it. So down and just press it. Oops, and lift it up. Now, it is a square-ish shape, but you can adjust it by lining it up with itself. Now, I only want this in 3 places. I don't want this to dominate. But if I line it up next to each other, then it becomes those 3 shapes. It's not 3 independent shapes. There you go. I'm liking that, and I quite like the puckering on it. So yes. So oh, hello. I think I was just saying. So I might seal these in with something like a gel medium. I don't want to use Mod Podge just in case. I don't normally have a problem with it being sticky. That doesn't seem to happen here for me. I know some people do have a problem with it. I've never had that problem. So maybe I'm just being lucky. We're almost there, guys, to be honest with you. I did pull out my number stamp. It's the big one. All of my stencils and stamps, by the way, there is always a link in the description box to PM Artist Studio, to my products. There always will be, and there always going to be. So if you're looking for anything, just look at the very bottom, down where it's my signature and stuff like that, and you will find that in there's a link to, I think it's Ceri Griffiths or Ceri the Crafter Designs PM Artist Studio website. It's there. Right, I've made a really nice gold one of those, which I'm very happy about, because I'm thinking I want to put the numbers over, the spare numbers over the top of that. Right, this needs to go in some water. If I don't put it in water, it's actually going to seal the stamp because it's acrylic paint. So I need to go do that, and I want to hit these with a cool hairdryer just so that I'm not pulling the gold back off again. So back in 2 seconds, guys. So I'm at the last stages now. I think, well, I'm going to say I think it's the last stages. I could add one more detail on here, which I've sort of got in mind, but I don't know. But this is what I'm going to use. It's one of my foam stamps. This is the positive. There is actually a negative version of this as well. So if you go onto the website, you'll see another version of it. So basically, in the other one, the outline is raised and the numbers are sunken in, if that makes sense to anyone. Right, I'm going to use Mars Black because I want the drama of this now. I need to think now, because I'm putting numbers on here, it's going to make me feel as if there's an up and a down. Now, I should imagine the cover's going to be about that wide, and it's going to be about that tall. So I'm going to focus. I don't mind if it wraps around the side. I just need to remember roughly. This is sort of calling to me here, this corner. Actually, this corner, it is this corner. Right. I'm going to stamp probably in 3 places as I already have with the others. Although what I'm going to do now is I'm going to probably stamp one off the page as well. So it's to the edge. So then it'll have the illusion of wrapping around the edges. So braying this out. Now I do have to move reasonably quickly, but not too quickly. Black or darker pigmented colours do dry really fast for me. Now I'm pressing down in the middle to make sure that I get full coverage. And I can see by leaning it back and forth the reflection. Put it down, give it a press in the middle, and then I just work my way around the edges. I don't hammer and tongs it. I press it down because if it's grungy look, I don't mind. And that I don't mind at all. Right, so coming up here, same finger in the middle, work my way around the edges. Now, because this stamp can be put in any direction, I can put it upside down at the top if I choose, and I think I'm going to, so that this goes off the page over here. Wish that wasn't on an angle, but it's so close to the top, a lot of it may not be seen anyway. This feels like the front, right? Get some more paint on here. I'm going to cheat and put that there, but I'm also going to put a little bit down here. I don't know, just it doesn't look okay. For those of you who want odd numbers, there you go, there's an odd number. Let me have a look at this one and see if there's anything similar to that. Maybe if I did put something here, maybe just a little tiny bit up there. Right. Now, I need to use up this black. So what I'm going to do is, this is my sheet of labels, my circles, and I'm literally going to stamp all the way across them. Now, these could end up with splatters on them. They could end up with text stamping on them. They could end up in any way, really. That'll be interesting. So let me have a quick look. Do I want to call it done or not? No. Right, I'm going to have to dry these and then get back to you. I want to put some white lines in here, some quite bold lines. See if I can reach it. Okay, a while ago I made this as a mark making tool out of cardboard. Yes, there'll be a link to this, don't worry, I will link it in the description box. It's just a tool I made out of cardboard and I really like this. And I think a couple of really bold white stripes on here would really give this, there's so much depth in this and I love that, but I just need some lines on it. So bear with me guys, I'll be back. Right, that feels a lot better. The black is as dry as it needs to be. I've taken away the big plate because I'm just stamping now with this little tool here. We're almost there, guys. I just fancy that I want some quite solid black, white lines in here. Not sure where they're going to be, but they're going to be horizontal and vertical, obviously. So I'm just going to use my opaque white paint again. See if I can get the right amount out this time. Right, we're going to hold fire on that, might be enough. Right, now I quite like the idea of something going across here because it's not exactly a perfect imprint. Am I expecting perfect? No, I'm not. But this needs to be a little more loaded up. And I think I want a piece down here. See what I mean? I just wanted something. I think for once I should have had more paint on the plate. I do need more paint on this plate. There you go, that's better. So, because this isn't like a foam stamp, it's not picking up as much paint as before. Also, I'm pressing onto a flat surface. Actually, that might be an idea. If I have this back in, then as I press down, it'll have a bit more give to it. So I should have thought of that. So let's just go back in, pick up paint again, and redo this bit. There you go. That's the difference between a solid surface and a slightly flexible surface when you're stamping. There you go, happened again. That and a combination of slightly more paint. I want one more of those. Don't ask me, guys. I don't know why. I do what I do. I feel something here. I think just the end of something there. The end of something. It might not even be seen. Right, that we'll take a look at that when it's all finished and wonderful. Right, this needs something down here again. I'd quite like to put something through there. Now I'm doing horizontal and vertical because at the end of the day I don't actually know which orientation things are going to be in when I make the covers. And knowing me, if I try and be orientation specific, when it comes to gluing things together, I'll forget about that, and one will be the right way up and one will be the wrong way up. That's just the way my life goes. So I've got 1, 2, 3. I want one more of these. Maybe a bit up by there. And the other half of it over here. I know I just cheated and put 2 down. So now, trick with these is if you want to preserve the lines so that paint doesn't fill them in, I usually come in with the paintbrush afterwards and just brush it out. And I do that so that I don't build up paint in the middle of everything. I know it sounds a little bit weird because it's not a bought stamp, it's a cardboard stamp, but that way I maintain the lines that I could do. Right, definitely need to clean up, definitely need to clean up, definitely need to put this in water, dry these off, and they'll come back for a flip through. Well, I'm very happy with those results. It just goes to prove that sometimes you just have to keep going. I mean, as you saw, I overdid it with the dots, so I just took it back to almost a white. I didn't obliterate everything, but almost to a white, and just started again. I like these. I think once these are down to cover size, I think those are lovely. As I said, I'm not sure whether I'm going to put a medium on them, like a satin type medium or a satin varnish or something, just to give them that little bit of a sheen, because they are going to be the outside covers of an art journal and they are going to take some abuse over time. Well, for the whole of March, I'm going to be opening and closing it every flipping day. So I think those are lovely. I really do. And yes, I think they're very, very much Ceri colours, which is good. It'll be another addition to my shelving that will look fabulous. So guess what? I'm Ceri the Crafter. That's Ceri the Crafter. Until next time, goodbye now.